Welcome to He Said, She Said, a relationship podcast.
I'm Luke.
I'm Sara, and we are married with kids.
You going to introduce Coda?
Yeah, Coda is actually here. She's our cat, and she's perched right next to me. She wants to be a part of the fun tonight, where we are going to sit down and talk about parenting, family, relationships, and life in general. Occasionally, we answer some questions from our listeners,
when they send them.
Yeah, which we have one tonight. So we're excited to get into that. But if you have a question for us, you can find us online. We have an email address.
Sorry about the noises. I was adjusting my mic. I'm just
saying. There's never any noises when you do that, darling husband.
I could see the things.
You can see them, but you can't hear them. Okay. Anyway, you can email us at hesaidshesaiedpc@gmail.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram. Just find us, like us, share us, tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your coworkers if you like them enough to speak of them, of things you like.
Then you guys can talk about us around the water cooler.
Yeah, it'd be so fun.
You can be like, did you guys listen to this week's He Said, She Said? Oh my God. What they said was just like, it's like they spoke to me.
Well, I mean, we are kind of talking to you, to them.
Well, I mean, like,
hello, listeners.
Them personally.
How are you today?
Oh, good.
That was
man,
really weird. Okay, so what are we doing this week?
Well, we're still gonna. You just want to give an. We'll still do the.
He's driving this
how's your week? We can still.
He said he wanted to.
Well, last week we said we got a really good question about work-life balance, and it kind of hit home with us, especially me. So we wanted to form a whole episode around that. So that's what we did. And
which is funny because
usually Sara does all the work.
Well, and I'm feeling the stress of mommyhood today. Sure.
I'm going to get that damn thing.
There's a stink bug.
Yeah. Okay. So while I'm being household exterminator.
Okay.
How was your week?
Oh, it was okay. It was good. I mean, it wasn't anything exciting, but I did get to have a little bit of a slower week work-wise, so that's always a plus. And today I got to do a little shopping. It's Sunday, FYI. We're a little late to podcast this weekend, busy weekend, and I got to do some social time with some adults last night, which was much needed and very fun. So yeah, it was a pretty decent week. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a 6.7. So above average, but not a 10. But you know how that goes with children. Occasionally they have their bad days. And yesterday we had quite the adventure as a family of 4. We thought it was a good idea to drive to Cincinnati and back.
With the kids.
With the 18-month-old and the very, very, very tired, almost 11-year-old. Oh, she was in a mood. And I'm whispering because she just went to bed. Why was she tired? She was tired because she got really jazzed about this parkour event on Saturday morning that one of her friends at school organized. He invited a professional parkourer. Why I forgot
to mute that channel.
Oh.
I just sorry, don't ignore it.
Can we get rid of that later? Are they going to hear it twice? Well, enjoy our intro strumming.
We accidentally did the outro.
No.
Well,
Should we go back?
No, don't worry about it. Keep going.
He doesn't care about the listening experience, apparently.
You got to keep it real.
Keep it real. Anyway, Nevi went to a parkour class from 10 to 12, and she had a lot of fun. But she was so exhausted.
It drained her.
It was like, we're like, are you sure you're okay? Did something happen? She's like, no. And she doesn't lie about stuff like that.
We can usually tell when something happens.
She's very literal.
She'll say no, and then she'll get all red and start crying.
Or she doesn't say anything when something actually happened, and she just looks panicked. But anyway, and then Sydney she wasn't that bad, but she did freak out once because I understand her frustration.
No, I know.
We got her out of the car seat. We were going to have a snack. We were going to check her diaper. Luke and Nevi went into the first stop, to the first store, thinking they'd be in there like at least 10 minutes. They were literally gone for 1 minute. And he's like, okay, let's go. And I'm like, oh.
They didn't have what I was looking for.
They didn't, but
That's the difference between male shopping and female shopping.
right. But she has no context of anything.
I will say the section. I was looking for a piece of hockey gear. The section of that particular Play It Again that was the hockey stuff was very small and cramped, and there was a guy with kids. They were very well behaved, but they were just like taking up space. The kid was walking around trying on skates, which like I totally get. And it wasn't like, oh, you little shit, get out of the way. They were being perfectly fine, but I was just like, I couldn't peruse.
That's hard.
Usually I'll browse a little bit,
Right.
but no time or no.
So that it added that extra like 15 minutes trying to fight her back. She doesn't mind going into her car seat 99.9% of the time. This is the first time she has ever protested it, ever.
She was hangry and did not want to be in the seat.
She was just confused because we drive someplace and then we get out for quite some time, even if it's just to go in the stroller, you know? So anyway, it passed and she was fine. But then our like dinner got messed up and it was life with kids. We were a stereotype for a day.
Now ask me how my day went and I'll just continue this story.
Right. So how was your week?
So, after we calmed Sydney down, we went to the second Play It Again location in that area, and they literally had the exact thing I was looking for. And it's like a combo face mask. Side note, I usually wear like a half shield, so picture a visor that just goes down to your nose. And there's a guy in the Blue Jackets just took a puck to the face. And it kind of spooked me. I've been thinking about getting a full face anyway.
It gave me my weird, like, internal stomach pain I get when people get physically hurt, and I see it.
Took a puck, like, directly to the face. He got an assload of stitches on the inside and out. Fractured orbital and fractured sinus cavity.
Does that mean inside his face there's stitches?
Yeah. That means they have to do them on the inside and the outside. Yeah. And the dude came back and played. Finished the game.
Hockey players are badass.
They are.
Let's be honest.
I'm a hockey player. Anyway, so I found the thing I was looking for. And I know you're saying this is hockey equipment. This is boring. Trust me. So the thing I found, so it's like half of a clear plastic visor and the bottom half is a wire thing. And I was like, yes, I found the perfect one. And
it was a really good price too.
$11 or $12. And brand new, those go for $60. And I was like, yes, what a find. Exactly what I was looking for. So Sarah goes out. She got to go have some social time. And I install this face shield. And the people at Play It Again put a sticker on the clear plastic. And it left a bunch of gunk, like it didn't come right off. And I was like, oh, man, what a pain in the ass. Now, normal people would just use warm soap and water and a little elbow grease, but I wanted the quick fix. So, off to Google. And the first thing I found that was, I was like, well, that sounds like it would work, was nail polish remover. I am stupid and didn't read the whole post.
Side note, I was kind of impressed that you found it because I don't paint my nails very often, so it's kind of like hidden.
Do you know what it would have been so much better if I wouldn't have found it?
Right.
Because the next thing up was vinegar, which I also found that. And I was like, well, that wouldn't have hurt.
I said that before you left. You listened to me.
I know. That's what was the next thing. But
before you listened to Google.
So I immediately did a little cotton swab and just did a little dab. And immediately when I touched it, I was like, what are you doing? This is acetone. It's going to ruin the polish. And I was like, immediately my brain was like, oh my God, how dumb are you? And I lifted it up and it was like, it's like this, it's about the size of a 50-cent piece smudge, like right in front of where my eyes was. And I felt so stupid. I immediately felt this like complete defeat because that whole trip when we went out, like Sydney was all not in a good mood. Nebby was tired. We wanted to go to this Chinese place, but it was friggin' packed.
Side note, Jen said that's a really, really, really good China buffet, and it's always really busy like that.
Oh, well, that's
She said they do cycle you through pretty quick, but she's like, yeah, it sucks. You guys didn't get to go there.
Well, the thing that sucks is, so we went to this Taco Bell that was right across the parking lot. Sat there and waited 15 minutes for our friggin' food. And I'm like,
forever.
Oh, shit. And I saw people going into the Chinese place when we drove by. They came out when we were leaving. And I'm like, Anyway, so that's just, and with Sydney's meltdown.
She was fine by this point,
I know,
by the way.
I know.
He was just being a little overly worrying about.
But, and then with Nevi she was off because she was so tired.
She was being hateful.
And
she's not
she
like
wasn't.
that.
All of her Saturday energy was drained in the morning. And but like, I was just like, but I'm like, it's worth it because I found what I was looking for. Mm-hmm. We're hunter-gatherers. It feels good. So when I ruined the whole reason we went out, I was just like, I sent her a picture of Ross from Friends in the episode where he's with Janice, and what was it? Something like, oh, they gave me decaf. Can't anything go right in my life? Like, I sent her that, and I was like, 'cause I felt it's so stupid. No, I'm gonna just say, like, it's so dumb. Like, it derailed my entire night because I was going to put that on, get it adjusted.
He was going to sit in the living room wearing it.
I do that sometimes. And then I was going to play, I have a Batman video game, and I always tell Sarah, like, she's like, you going to stay up a little while? I was like, yeah, I'm going to be Batman. And it's a really fun game, Arkham Asylum, if you've never played it. And, like, that was my whole plan. And I was like, then I might watch a movie or something. Had a whole night plan. I just, like, sat here for so long going, like, how can I fix this?
But
what
wait,
do I do?
You benefit from me being an oversharer.
Right.
Because I was sitting there with one of our mutual friends. Well, technically he was my friend first, but at this point in our marriage, they're mutual friends who plays hockey with Luke. So I had to share.
We used to play, our bands used to play together all the time.
So I was like, oh, he did not. And then I was like, I have to tell you guys what just happened to Luke. And then I told the story, and
Ooh, I'm sorry, I need to interject one more point.
This is the worst podcast ever tonight. Go ahead.
But this is, couples working stuff out.
I know.
I do want to say, like, when I was done, I was like, I swear that post said that. I finished reading the post, and it said, like, almost directly after, said, but don't use acetone-based nail polishes because they'll ruin your visor. It was, you're supposed to use, like, the earth ones or whatever. And I was like,
they have non-acetone ones.
Normally I'm so careful about this shit, but just my brain just...
Plus, like, you hate the way that stuff smells.
I know.
Like, real bad.
Well, I used it to clean a guitar once, and it worked really well. So I was like, oh, if it was fine on the guitar, I'm an idiot.
It's okay.
So anyway, Sarah shares it,
I
and then one of our friends...
my life in general. Because I don't have a lot to talk about besides our kids. So when I'm in a party setting with a mix of people who do have kids and people who don't, I try to balance things by not constantly talking about the children. So I shared the story, and I think I just accidentally paged my phone from my iWatch.
There it is.
Apple Watch. My phone is right here. Anyway, sorry. I overshared. I walked away from Adam and went to talk to other people, and then, like, 5 minutes later, I turn around and he's standing there with the exact same.
Well, medium sized. Well, mine was a large, so this is a medium.
I was going to specify the exact same model of what Luke bought, except one size smaller. He's like, he can just have it. I forgot I had it. It's fine. He can have it. I'm like, you just saved the day.
You really did.
So I texted Luke and told him this and said, I will come home with a new one.
Yeah, he was texting me the whole time.
Eventually I was like, he's like, tell him. I'm like, Adam, you should probably tell him because I don't really know what you're talking about. I still have a hard time calling him Adam, though. It's weird to me.
Yeah, he has a nickname we usually go by.
Yeah. Well, no, for years I only knew him as his nickname, and it just...
Try this.
Feels weird.
In the hockey thing, everybody calls him Moeller.
Oh,
Some people call him Moeller.
More confusing. We just outed, like, our friend first and last name on our podcast. Ooh, I hope he doesn't care. He probably doesn't listen. Maybe we should tell him he should do this episode because he's famous on it.
We gave you a shout out.
So thanks for saving Luke's morale for the evening.
Yeah, I mean, I was, even after you told me the day was saved, I was still like...
I thought you would be awake and pouting about it when I got home because I didn't stay out that late. But I
was asleep by 11.
I cracked the door and listened, and I could hear you snoring. I was like, oh, he's asleep.
Yeah, I watched a first half of a movie, and then I was like, I'm tired. This day has won, and I'm giving in.
Well, we had a better day today.
And I knew I was going to get up at Sydney, so...
Today was a good day.
Yeah. I will say, in the morning, though, when I saw the ruined mask sitting, even though I knew there was a fix, I saw the ruined mask sitting there, and it was just, like, immediate, like, you're still here.
Well, and I left the new one in the car. I should have brought it in.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You should have swapped them, and then I probably would have accidentally thrown out the new one.
No, you wouldn't have.
So, there's 15 minutes that you'll never get back.
Right.
So, we got
It's
a question.
our gift to you. Wait, is there anything else? There is other things. I want to talk about TV. We have new TV to
That's
talk
at the
about.
end.
We can do that. Do we not want to do that first?
Do that at the end.
Let's do it at the end.
Yeah, we always do that at the end. We only did it at the beginning that one time because we meant to or something.
We did it last time.
Yeah.
Why? Why did we do that?
You said you wanted to.
Huh.
We always do it at the end as a little sign-off.
I think the reason I felt compelled to do it before the end is so we don't rush through it. I don't have that much to say. I just want to share like what they are.
Okay.
Let's just do it now. I'm changing it up.
Okay.
Okay. So we have 2 shows to talk about this week. First, I will mention the one I'm watching by myself called Girl Boss on Netflix. And it's based, it was a book and they turned it into a show. It follows a 23-year-old woman in San Francisco. It starts in 2006 and she kind of sucks at life. Like she dropped out of college and she gets fired from her job selling shoes and she has a shitty car and the world is against her. Basically like your classic millennial stereotype. RuPaul is in the show. Like he's her neighbor and I've only watched like 2 episodes, but I really enjoy it. And you hate this main character. Like I hate her. Like she's awful. But that's why you want to watch it, because you're like, oh, she's going to succeed and you're going to fucking hate it. But it's like, I like the time period.
It's like real life.
It really is. And I don't really relate to her very much because I don't believe in a lot of those stereotypes. I don't feel like I see them in myself, of millennials being one. But I'm enjoying it so far. And the other one we're watching together, we could talk about, is on HBO, The Leftovers. I think it came out a few years ago.
And the funny part, this is one of those advertising works,
right,
or graphic design works. I saw, we do like the HBO app, and there was just, they do like little ads that are just like,
they're previews
the
for
name
other
of it,
shows.
and it's like the final season of it. And it was just a cool looking logo, and I was like, well, that's pretty sweet.
I
like,
saw
what is this show?
A legitimate trailer when I was watching the Big Little Lies show.
Oh.
There was a trailer of like people getting on a plane.
Oh. Yeah, so the
Yeah.
show. And I later learned it's from one of the creators of Lost, and we were like so addicted to Lost.
Lost was a good one.
It's just one day, like 3% of the world's population just
Poof.
vanish. And it's not like they ascend, they disintegrate,
they're just
nothing.
gone.
They're just like not there all of a sudden.
Like the first episode, I mean, it's like the first 5 minutes of the show. A lady's at the laundromat on her cell phone. She's got a baby in a baby carrier. The baby's fussing because they're at the laundromat and she's on the phone. Blah, blah, blah. And then she goes to get in her car and she's still on the phone. And the baby's like making lots of noise and then he gets real quiet and then like pans up to her and then she turns around and he's gone. Like her baby just poofs. And then all this other stuff happens because like people driving cars disappear. It's intriguing.
Yeah, so the show picks up 3 years after, and everybody's like coping, like still trying to figure out what the hell happened. And there's like cults have popped up,
and like people have lost their religion. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
If you like that type of thing.
I mean, shit, we've watched 3 episodes. So
I think so. I think it's 3.
But so far, like I don't want to say hooked yet. I am intrigued. I want to see where it goes.
I'm enjoying watching it.
And knowing Damon Lindelof from Lost, like, I know it's going to go places that we're going to be like, what the fuck? Like,
Right.
I'm looking forward to the season finale already. Like, I know there's going to be something
big.
So anyway.
Okay, so that's our TV.
And I'm still watching Mythbusters a lot.
Right, and I don't think I have anything else I'm
Yeah,
watching.
but-
Sesame Street on the daily. I can tell you all about the letter of the day.
Today, it was...
I could sing you the song. I'm not gonna,
Wait,
but I
yeah.
could.
Today it was Wasatamanga. That's it.
That's not
That's
a
an
letter.
inside joke from one of the episodes.
That's not even from an episode. That's from a special.
And next week, I'm going to tell you about how I'm watching Silicon Valley.
Because that comes
Because
back.
it premieres, the season premieres like tomorrow.
You
Anyway,
know what I really want to know?
have you ever seen the rain?
No. What the hell you did to your forehead? He has a
I have
giant
mystery.
It's
It
like
burns.
it's like a bendy spot. It's right. It's right between your eyebrows. It's
my
up
third
a little.
eye.
It's a little bit higher. But
Yeah,
it's like he scratched himself or picked a zit in his sleep. He just like, I don't know what happened.
No, she pointed it out and I was like, I don't
This
know.
morning, yeah.
I'd say I wiped my face when I was playing hockey today.
Did you hit it?
And I hit it and I was like, oh, and then I wiped my neck because I shaved. Oh. And I was like, everything burns. Can't anything go right?
Ask you, did the face mask thing work well at hockey?
Yes, it just fogs up a little.
Okay.
So I need to, that's why I need to get the defogger.
Or figure out, maybe we can
All I did
Google.
was Windex it. I ain't doing any more Google recipes.
Don't use Windex. It has ammonia in it. That's right by your face.
Well, too late.
Well,
I only used that to clean it. I didn't do it like right before. I did it this morning.
Okay, we'll get on Amazon. Okay, so now we can answer our question.
Now, 20 minutes in.
That's okay. That's fine.
I think that's why we usually do it at the end. So if they don't want to hear about it,
They
it doesn't
can just
matter.
fast forward
All right, so now you know. Go back in time and fast forward like 5 minutes.
if you want.
You don't have to.
But
Or
now
you can
they've already listened to it.
Anyway, so we got this question, and like we said before, we liked it so much we're going to make a whole episode out of it. And it's another dude, so there's at least 2.
Yes, thank you, dude.
And he even
for
makes a joke about it.
listening and writing. I have not heard your question yet, but I appreciate your ears.
Sarah does know that it's work
Yeah, I know what
Work,
it's about,
life.
but
related, but she hasn't heard the
Luke
full
kind
question.
of prepared notes and such. He took on the Sarah role in this episode, and I took on the
well,
Luke.
because we'll get to the because, but like
Yes.
this one just I relate to it more.
Righto.
So it says, "Hi, oh, and I named this person Rick Grimes. He's the lead in Walking Dead, and he needs a good work-life balance.
He does.
Okay. Hi, you have at least 2 male listeners. I have a question since you both work. Recently, I was promoted to a management position. Not exactly my dream job, but the money's good and it's nice to be recognized. My problem is the increase in stress level and hours. I feel like there's hardly any time after work for family and self. For reference, it's office 8 to 5 with the occasional late day to take care of emergencies. Do you all have any tips for balancing work/marriage/parenting and staying sane? Thank you both. Rick Grimes." Well, you just tell Coral to calm down. Is that pretty good, Rick
he
Grimes?
needs to balance work life on that show because you never see Judith. You see her like once every 4 episodes.
I thought you were about to say the wife, and I was like, she's dead.
No, poor little Judith. Anyway, we're talking about a TV show. So, okay.
Okay, so
Yes, we have tips.
what I did was kind of like, I was like, man, I have so many different things I could say. So I kind of just rattled off a list of like things that I think would help, things that I do. And the reason this hits home is like Sarah works from home, so she gets all day with Sydney, the toddler, and she picks Nevi up from school. So then from like 3 o'clock on, she's with Nevi, and like I don't even get home sometimes till like 5:30 or so. So that leaves me maybe an hour and a half with Sydney, and just a couple hours with Nevi.
Yeah, because we're very, and this ties into later, we are strict bedtime people. Like some people
you
are
have
willy-nilly about like, oh, whenever they're tired. No, not in this household. Bedtime for that baby is between 7 and 7:30 at the latest, and Nevi is a solid 8:30 every night.
Yeah.
Continue.
And so we have to stick to this, and it helps build. Kids crave structure.
And it farther down on the list,
Make schedule.
we'll get there.
So I wrote some of the things that I use to cope. And what's funny is my first tip is one that I still haven't quite figured out, but I do my best. So most of the time I get home and it's like I get home and I have things to do. And I'm like, I need to do these things, but I would really love to spend time with the kids. One needs help with homework. The other just wants to play. And then I'm like, but I have this thing I need to do and I just got off work. So first tip, lose the guilt.
Right.
You could just be some bum who lives off the government and like hates your kids and go out to the bar all day. But like you're out there working, they'll appreciate it in the future. So like, yeah, it sucks. You get to see them a couple hours a day, which trust me, sucks for me. And I feel really guilty about it. Mostly when I'm like, okay, I need to go to the gym. And like Sarah's very good about like, you have to do this stuff for yourself. I need to go to the gym. I'm in a hockey league. So luckily my games are usually pretty late. So Sydney's usually in bed by the time I leave. But like today I went and did a little hockey thing just to practice. And you have to just go. I had to mow the lawn today. I had to do some yard work and stuff. And I'm like, that takes away time with the family. But I'm like, you have to do it. What's it going to not get done? And I think if you don't do these things, you're going to end up resenting your kids. So it like, I don't know. You have to try to not feel guilty about doing some things for yourself because like it's okay.
I agree.
Usually you have more to say.
Well, I only have one edit to your intro. While I am with the children a lot more than you, it's not quality time.
You're working.
That I'm spending with them, but like I do like am in their physical presence more, and I do try to take time to like talk to Nevi about her day, and we have a rule that if she's really struggling with homework, because we like her to try to do it right when she gets home, as she's on some medication, and if she waits too long into the evening, it's going to be completely worn off, and that's no good for homework time. Lately, she's been rocking her homework on her own 100%, but occasionally I say, if you need help, and as long as I'm not on a conference call at that exact moment, you can come get me.
Well, like there was a math homework sheet that was this story problem that I had to like think of an equation to make, and I was like, did she pull the wrong paper out, or was this just something fun?
Who knows? That
the teacher was like, do this with your parents, see if you can figure it out. Because I was like, holy crap. It was one of those things where they don't give you the actual data. You just have to you have to figure out a formula to figure out what they're talking about.
Right.
Algebra, I guess.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what the heck? You're in 5th grade.
I know. But
anyway.
But I take the time to talk to her about her day, and with Sydney, I take little like 5-minute breaks throughout the day with her as much as I can. It's hard because I want to dedicate that time to them, but obviously I can't because I have work stuff to do.
And that's work-life balance.
It is.
So for
like I
work from home
all day long.
Parents.
But I mean, you have to, like Luke said, you have to do what you need to do to stay sane. Unplug as much as you can when you get home. I know that you mentioned that the new position is management, but unless it's like super high power management, there's no reason to like be checking email at home. Leave that stuff at work. If you
we'll get there.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying like that's my first bit of advice is like when you leave work, if you have a commute, that can be stressful, but try to find like this podcast.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Listen to podcasts such as this one.
Or like,
I guess you already do.
I mean, most of my driving that I do get to do, like to go work out or go see people, I listen to a lot of podcasts, but occasionally I like to mix it up and listen to music. Like sometimes I'm like, I don't want to listen to people talk today. So I just turn the music up super loud because I don't get to do that very much when I'm by myself. But just do what you need to do. Use that time in the car if you have it to try and to decompress then, so you don't have to like take yourself away from the family as soon as you get home. Because
I have a very short commute, so I sometimes need to come home and be like, okay, give me 5 minutes to just like collect myself.
Which I totally get.
So sometimes you're like, okay, I have all these things I need to do.
Right.
When the hell do I figure out a time to do them?
Right.
For my next tip, make a schedule.
Or a list if you can't. If you don't.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you got the things you need to do. And I'm not saying you have to plan every minute of your day. So your schedule can be a daily thing or a weekly thing. Mine's more of a weekly thing. I have a very loose go to the gym schedule. I play hockey every Tuesday. Well, right now the league's on hiatus till the next season starts, but I play hockey every Tuesday. Soon to be Tuesday and Thursday. But that'll take away a gym day. But I try to make certain days. And like Sara goes to her Pure Barre classes on certain days.
Typically Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings. Yeah. But sometimes it fluctates to Monday evenings because Mondays are hard at 5:50 a.m. He's looking at me like, you're going to go to 7 tomorrow, right? I haven't decided yet. I'm in a better mood when I go early.
Yeah, but I'm not here to enjoy it.
The mornings when I don't work out, I want to like stab people, not our child, just like random strangers.
You're going to give that child a knife and be like, let's go stabbing.
I'm just real crabby. Like I just feel crappy, and our bed sucks, and we need a new one. And I think that's a big part of it. If I don't get up and like go, like if
My
I
bed
just
sucks
like,
so bad.
oh,
I'm on what,
work.
like week 2 or 3 of I can only sleep on the couch because my back hurts so bad.
I will say that I fall asleep really quick because I'm in there by myself.
And my snot noises aren't hurting either.
But I'm not sleep. I don't sleep very restful either because I'm tossing and turning because our bed. Anyway, we're
my
getting way
warmth
off track
isn't there.
here.
Anyway,
Yes.
make a schedule.
Make a schedule.
So
Maybe it's not the gym. Maybe you like to.
I need to take a half an hour because I got to run to the store, like the sports store or the hobby shop or the, I don't know, whatever. I guess I'm pointing this towards a man, but towards
anybody,
whatever anyone wants to. Not that women can't do.
Although
sports
sometimes
or hockey.
errands are not the same as like dedicated.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
time.
Like me, sometimes I just want to go to like the video game store just to look around.
Right.
I don't particularly care for shopping, but I can stare at video game cases and be like, oh, this one looks cool, because I know I'll never have time to play them. Side note, the 2 most recent video games that I've received, one was a gift from me lovely wife, Sarah. And one is one that was on sale, like in a sale good price. So I'm like, oh, sweet. There are 2 games that came out years ago and were remastered for PS4, and now I'm just finally playing them.
It worked out.
That's how much time I have. So, anyway, you got to do those things, which is my next tip. Treat yourself. Sometimes you just got to say, like, okay, I work hard. I'm guilty about these kids all the time. Every now and then, I just have to do something for myself. I'm going to stop by the store and treat myself to a venti frappuccino. Like, just a little something to perk up your day, and it'll make you in a better mood for your kids and your wife and or husband, or roommate, whoever. We don't judge. You don't have to call him your roommate anymore. Not you, Rick Grimes. I'm not assuming. What if we just outed Rick Grimes?
Well, maybe.
Sorry. I know he was real mad about Shane. Sorry, a little Walking Dead joke. So, but treat yourself every now and then. As like, life's stressful, and you got this new job or whatever, or you got like Sarah works from home and takes care of the kid and stuff. Like, there's times where she comes home and she's like, I gotta get out of here.
I come home.
Are you good? And I'm just like,
he comes home.
I'm sorry, I come home. And she's just like, I've been in here all day. Are you good? And she'll be like, I'm just going to go for a run. Or I'm going to go. There was a class I scheduled myself. I'm leaving in 10 minutes. And I'm just like, can you give me 5 of those minutes? But like, and it's like, okay.
I don't usually.
I was just making.
I usually warn you more than that.
I know.
But yes, some days I'm like, I need a time out.
Like you've been like, I'm just going to run to Target.
Right.
Or Goodwill or something just to fart around.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Just to be by myself, really.
So another couple things I wrote, and I'm going to kind of do these together, is there's some times where you don't work. So let's make use of those times.
Right.
So a lot of people forget about the before time. Have breakfast with your kids every morning.
That's a good idea.
And your wife. Or your husband. Or your roommate.
Your person.
Like that's time that a lot of people just rush through. And like our household's kind of, it's like a controlled chaos where, but like we do the same thing every morning just to get everyone out the door. We're all in the kitchen
at least.
Yeah. And I say hi to Sydney, and like she's eating breakfast and being adorable. I'm helping Nevi get out the door on time. Nevi's very good at getting herself together in the morning. And we, if you have time to sit down and like make eggs and stuff, sit around the table and just talk to your kids or your wife or your roommate or your husband.
Just say partner.
It's a running joke.
Just say family.
You're ruining my joke. It's called a callback, ma'am.
Nah.
Do it. It's some time.
Well, and if you don't feel like you have it right now, get up earlier. Like I know that no one
ever
wants to hear that as a piece of advice because 80% of the world considers themselves not a morning person, and only 20% of the world considers themselves a morning person. And I will say,
I read an article recently. There is a scientific basis for like some people just can't. I am one of those people.
I understand that.
I could never set my internal clock to do that.
It's fine. It's just it's literally. I think it has a lot to do with like your parents, how you were raised, and both of my parents are morning people, like early risers. Yeah. Get up and go type of people. It's how I was raised. It's kind of ingrained in me. I think it's part of who I am. And honestly, since Sydney has come along and Nevi is here full time, I'm more tired than I've ever been in my entire life. And I understand.
It'll pass.
Well, no,
18 years or so.
I understand how people who don't consider themselves morning, I think that's how they probably feel every day. And they've always felt that way.
Part 2 of this.
I just pushed through.
As like, yeah, the kids, they're great. However, after they go to bed, it's some great you time.
Yeah.
That's when Sarah and I catch up on our shows and like, let me preface, we love our children to death. But sometimes you're just like, go to bed. Mommy and daddy need to have a drink. And not most days, but some days. And we're going to watch a show and we're going to like just sit together, veg out, talk about our days a little bit and like,
yeah.
Because there's certain conversations you can't have in front of a kid.
Right. Well, and tonight I was literally like counting the minutes until 6:45 when I could start the bedtime routine with Sydney. I was just like, I'm just done.
Some days are like that.
She was very combative during bath time this evening, and that made for a very unpleasant.
Talk about the new thing we're dealing with.
Luke said, because I'm sure you couldn't hear him, he wants me to talk about the new thing we're dealing with her in bath time. So just so you guys know, we don't have a full-size bathtub in our home. We have a full-size shower. The house we live in was owned by the same woman for like 50 years, and she swapped out her full-size tub for a full-size shower because she got older and it's easier to get in and out of. Anyway, we had like a baby bathtub when Sydney was a newborn. We used that on the counter. And then once she got a little bit bigger, we just realized she would fit in our sink because we have like we don't have a double 2-sided sink. We have like one big sink. So we've been doing baths in there. She's gotten a little weird about having her hair washed. And last bath time, she actually stood up in the sink and it freaked me out because like she wasn't like having like a tantrum about her hair that time, but she stood up and it's underneath cabinets, so she almost hit her head. So I'm like, okay, we need to try to at least put her baby bathtub in our full-size shower, see how that goes. So I did that tonight, and I kind of just was trying to rush through it because I just wanted to get it over with. So I didn't really give her time to adjust because it's completely new to her, not even thinking like she's never been in her tiny bathtub in this big shower. And she was just kind of sitting there all weird, probably trying to take it all in. And then I started I put water on her head and she freaked out and stood up and started fussing and crying. And I was soaking wet by the end of it. It was just, It was rough. And
This is not, and I told you so. It's not. Because the reasons are different.
Okay.
I didn't say anything because I know sometimes we've just got to let our ideas go through because sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I was going to tell you, like, are you sure you want to do that? That is going to kill your back.
Well, no, I didn't even kneel. Well, I sat.
I know, but it's just awkward.
It was awkward.
But I was thinking, like, I never even thought, like, the weird hair washing thing she's going through would translate. So, like, now we're like, okay, we got to just figure out a different way.
Well,
we have to adapt.
It's just safer to have it, to deal with it in the sink than, because we're standing.
We'll just strap her down.
But we will still clean her somehow.
We'll just strap her to a tiny little stretcher and just, like, dip her through the faucet like a plate. I mean, you're clean now.
I mean, I don't know. We might be able to teach her how to take a shower. But anyway.
When she's more steady.
Point being is...
Sorry, I was having Sarah go on a little bit.
Counting the minutes till bedtime because of that incident. And I mean, I had to yell a little and then I felt really bad because I know she's getting older, but she's still so little.
But we still have to set boundaries for our children.
And I think she like got the clue because she calmed down pretty quick. Like I got her out and then dried her off and we sat there and she let me brush her hair.
You're not the only one that made her cry today. She's got her tiny little couch and we do not like it. It's like a little Elmo couch, but we have a rule. Like you can't walk on it and stand up on it. And sometimes she'll be like, sit down. And she'll just sit right down. But I must have dad voiced her or something. Because, like, she got off it and she sat
her
down.
little lip came
and
out.
she does this thing, like, her whole body goes limp. And, like, she looks... Okay. If many of you might be familiar with that, there's a meme of an orangutan. And its arms are down and it looks sad. And it always says something like, all my friends are at the gym and I'm just sitting here thinking about Twinkies. Or it's a meme.
I've never
like,
seen that one.
I'll have to show it to you.
She looks like an orangutan, really. I always think she goes,
Orangutan meme.
You don't have to show me
I'm
right
show
now.
It, Sarah. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Anyway, he kind of yelled at her to stop standing up on it.
Don't read the words,
And,
but that's the picture.
No,
But, like, she kind of, her whole body droops and goes, and
she gets very
her
pouty.
little lip comes out and she's like, you betrayed me, father. Anyway, so...
She didn't actually cry, though.
I caught her.
It was just it was chaos. It was crying and splashing and yelling and
It was quite a weekend.
but then I finally put her to bed, and I come out and it's 6:56. I'm like, wow, that was quick. She was so sweet during, like, she was fine after her bath. She was kind of wound up. We got ice cream this evening before dinner. That probably didn't help.
Yeah.
All that sugar.
But, like, this is one of those weekends where I'm like, I'm good going back to work tomorrow. Like, it was just a stressful weekend.
Yeah, have fun. Have a nice time.
I'm gonna. Oh yeah, and then I'll feel guilty. No, I've got a project I'm working on that I'm like on a roll, and I gotta get it moving. Okay, speaking of getting moving, so this is sort of a two-parter about setting boundaries. Set boundaries. Okay, let me just say this: your job owes you nothing. And you owe them nothing.
Well, besides a paycheck.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's a contract. I do work, you give me money.
Right.
I know from lots of personal experience, at any moment, they can go, like, you don't work here anymore.
Well, most places, most people are out.
If you're not in a union.
Right.
If you live in a right to work state.
Or if you don't
God
have a
help you.
contract. Like
if you don't have a contract, if you don't have a union. But if you live in a right to work state or you work for a quote-unquote at-will employee, that means either of you can leave at any time and they can let you go at any time. And I have experienced this multiple times. Not for being bad at my job. And like
you experienced it how like good people experience it.
It was
like,
literally
we downsized. You don't have a job anymore.
The higher ups said you guys have to cut 3% across the board, and the easiest way to do that is just to let people go. Not do your goddamn jobs and figure out a way to save money, but it's just like, let's just get rid of a few people and make everyone else work harder.
Right.
Not to go on that tangent, but I've experienced this.
Right.
So I can tell you from personal experience, like, they owe you nothing. Do a good job while you're there, but you have to set boundaries and let them know stuff like, hey, Jimmy's got football practice at 6. I'm not staying past 5:15. But we got the Johnson account. Fuck off, boss. Jimmy has football practice.
You don't even have to tell them that. Like in what I do, the company I work for, because it's a lot of conference calls, obviously, because I work from home. And even if I wasn't working from home, my company has multiple locations across the country, so it's still just a lot of conference calls. And when you have another call, or say you have an appointment you have to be done working at 5, and you have a call that runs from 4:30 to 5, you say, I have a hard stop. And I will have to literally drop this call, possibly without saying goodbye if it's a multiple person call, at 5 o'clock. Like I'm going to be gone at 5 o'clock. And you make that clear. It's I don't see anything wrong with that. Like you're upfront with it. You're saying, this is
hopefully you get lucky and have like a good boss or a good environment.
And I've really lucked out, and I do have that. So I mean, I didn't before, but my boss I have now is great. He understands that.
But like, and honestly, if you end up if you have a boss that's like, no, you have to stay now. I don't care about Jimmy. He's a little shit. Like you find a new job.
Right. Like
that's just going to get bad.
That you work. Excuse me. Sorry, that's a big yawn. I had a glass of wine with dinner, and it's catching up with me. Dinner I had after the baby was in bed. I wasn't drinking wine and feeding the baby dinner. Although some nights it would probably help the process. Hopefully your employer is understanding and wants you to have a good work-life balance, because it'll make you be more focused and attentive and better at your job.
Right.
When that is in sync. When it's too much of one or the other, it shows at work. Like if you're overtaxed at work or overtaxed at home, I mean, everyone could probably say they're overtaxed at home if they have a wife and kids, or a spouse and kids. It feels that way sometimes, but
so
hopefully your partner pulls your weight as well.
Or roommate.
Partner.
What if they're like really roommates?
Well, I don't know. I thought he said he had kids.
So-
Did he not say he had kids?
Yeah, he asked about kids.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking to the broad
Oh, okay.
spectrum, not the broad spectrum.
Not like a lady.
So part 2 of that.
That broad.
That's offensive.
Part 2, go on.
About setting boundaries is limit your work talk at home.
Yeah. Which is super hard for me.
Understand
because I work at home.
that, like, don't, ours is weird because I go to work, Sarah works from home. So I could come home and be like, well, you just sat here all day and blah, blah, blah. But, like, that's not true. So I wrote, limit your work talk, but understand each other's work stresses. Like, it's a different kind of stress, or, like, you have different types of jobs. Like, don't compare. Don't say, I work harder.
Right.
Because, like, if you're having trouble dealing with that balance, like, that's one of the first things people do is, like, well, you got to do this because I work harder. And something, like, don't do that. So maybe set a limit. Be like, okay, we get 10 minutes to bitch about our day. Well, and then move on.
And we both romanticize the other ones because I work from home and because he gets to go to an office.
Well,
and
I used to work from home part-time.
You did.
Like,
and
it was a full-time
nice.
job, but I would work probably 1 or 2 days every couple of weeks. And, like, I loved it. There was no Sydney, though.
Right. And, I mean, don't get me wrong. And it's something I've been working on, and it's helping a ton. When I do start to feel like really isolated, because that's my biggest issue with it lately, is that isolation and not having, like, there's a lot of social parts that people forget about at work. Like, you have work friends, and you don't just talk about work from 9 to 5. You talk about your life, and you like share jokes, and you go to lunch, and there's social aspects to going to an office and working. I'm missing those. So anyway, I remind myself when I start to feel like, oh, this sucks, I just want to be around people. I'm like, I'm really lucky that I don't have to commute. I can work in my pajamas if I want to. And
pajamas. There's days when I work from home, like, I was in underwear all day. And it's like, I'm doing, like, corporate things and stuff. I'm in my underwear.
I don't ever do that.
And I hand them a brochure. It's like, here's the new brochure, sir. I made it in my underwear.
But yeah, I do remind myself a lot, like, and it's awesome that I can still provide for our family the way I do financially, and I get to be here with Sydney at the same time. Like, I know that is very rare, because my working from home, a lot of times people who don't know me, I think they're like, oh, she's like doing like one of those like direct sales, or she like writes. Not that these aren't legitimate money-making things. These do make money for certain people, but like maybe they think I'm like a blogger. But then like, no. I work for like a Fortune 500 company.
I wish you were a blogger.
I work for a big company. I transitioned from being in an office to at home, so it's legit work. That's all. I need to legitimize myself, honey. I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
No, it's okay. The next thing is, and we kind of. Earlier I talked about, like, make the time for your kids for, like, you got breakfast, but this is a different point. Like, I wrote, make time for your kids, even a little. Now, by that, I don't mean, like, all right, 2:00 is little Jimmy's time. Like, no, I mean...
What is this little Jimmy thing? It's killing me.
I don't know, I assume Rick Grimes... Well, no, his kid's name's
Carl.
I should have said Carl. Damn it.
Yeah.
Coral. No, what I mean is, by make the time is, when you come home... and your 10-year-old wants to tell you something hilarious that happened in school. Sometimes, and we know, little kid stories, like, I always tell new parents, like, two big things I tell them. every stupid thing that your kid does is a tiny little science experiment that they're just trying to figure shit out.
Right.
Secondly, most of the things they tell you or they're currently doing at that point in their life are like the most important thing that's ever happened to them.
Right.
That's so hard to remember as an adult. But like, you have to listen intently to their stories, and like, I'll come home and Sydney will hand me a toy. We've been playing with the balls a lot lately, and it's so cute. And like, she'll come home and hand me a ball, and we do this thing. Like, I do this thing. My dad used to do it, where I'll lay on my back, and I'll throw a ball, and it'll touch the ceiling, and I'll catch it. So now Sydney will lay down on her back, and it's so cute. And it's hard to explain. She lays on her back and pushes herself backwards, so she like scurries on the top of her head.
Yeah.
And she like does it and gets like right up against me, and then like I throw the ball a little, then I hand it to her. And she kind of like tosses it, and then she gives it back to me. And it's like a thing. You just got to make time for those little moments. And like help the kids with their homework. Just that's the kind of stuff where it doesn't need to be scheduled, but it's like when the kids need the time, give them the time.
Well, and if you do have errands, because they pop up during the week, take one of them with you.
We do that a lot. I'm like, hey, I got to run to the store.
Yeah,
and
I'll take Nevi.
Yeah, she'll be like, take Nevi with you. She can tell you about her day. Awesome. There's a car ride to one of the errands I had to do that time for the child now. And then I over-explain things like as teachable moments with her. I do it with Sydney too, the toddler, but she's just now kind of grasping our words. But like with Nevi, I'll tell her like, here's why I'm doing this or that, or like, hey, do you know about this thing? And this works like this. Like, she'll probably take in about 15% of this info because let's be honest, kids just don't care. No, I'm not saying her personally, but most kids are just like, thank you, Dad. Thank you for letting me know how an internal combustion engine works. Awesome. Can I tell you about Ninja Turtles? I assume that's what Carl, Johnny, Jimmy's into. Do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
What am I adding to? Making the time for the kids.
Making time for those little things, those little moments with kids.
I think it's not even making the time. It's that like realizing that it doesn't have to be like a grand gesture. It doesn't have to be like a long amount of time. Like, it's just, especially with kids, like, you just have to show up and be present. You need to be more present with them. We try
very hard also not to be like, okay, we're home, turn on the TV to shut up the runts so we can...
Right.
Like, don't do that.
Yeah.
That's not quality time. Don't get me wrong. No. There's times where we're like, it's simmer down time. We'll turn on like Simpsons or Ponies or Sesame Street or something just so everybody could chill out a few minutes before bed.
Right.
But like, it's never an all day thing.
Right. And we don't do that every day because it's just no good.
So the next thing, and we've talked about this many times, make dates.
Yeah.
You can do spouse dates and you can also do kid dates. Like, okay, I have been absent this whole week because work's been crazy, but you know what? I'm talking to a kid. Like, you and I are going to go to the mall Saturday morning. You can pick out any toy.
Me and Nevi are going to go to, or Nevi and I are going to go to the movies Tuesday night, I think. It's bargain night.
Boss Baby.
I want to see Boss Baby. I hope it's still out.
It's got Alec Baldwin. He talks like this.
I think it looks funny. She was super stoked about it too because it's a baby who talks like an adult.
What I mean. Like, we just make time.
Yeah,
to, like, make those big memories for the kids.
Popcorn.
I'm just trying to rush us along because
why?
I still have to export and
just calm down. You've been doing this. Okay, you need to calm down because it's not a big deal.
And think it through.
Now he's quoting Sesame Street. It's not a big deal if it doesn't get done tonight. Oh well.
Well, I want to do it tonight though.
That's great, but let's not.
You're letting them know how the sausage is made.
Well, you were the one that said that. I'm going to rush them through because I need to do this. Just calm down. It's okay.
I'm calm, Daddy-o.
If you wouldn't have had to do your other podcast on Friday, we could have done this then. We both forgot about that, by the way. Hi, Sean. You forgot. You told me. You're like, I forgot. Sean texted me. Were you just humoring me when I said I forgot about it?
I never said I forgot.
You told me you forgot.
I honestly don't remember
on
saying
like Wednesday or Thursday. You're like, I'm going to Sean's Friday. Don't forget. I forgot.
You said you forgot.
I did, and you agreed with me.
Oh, no, you mean that, like, I forgot that I made the plans with Sean.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. There was, like, a day or so where, like, I completely forgot I made plans.
Yeah.
And then, like, we started texting, and it was so funny. Like, he texts me, and it's like, hey, so about Friday, what are you thinking about this and this? And I'm like, oh, this. And I'm like, it didn't even dawn on me that, like,
That was, like...
the memory just, like, went out of my head and then came back. Can I move on to the next thing?
Yes. Hurry. Go.
Make your weekends count. So
That's really
this
funny
weekend,
after this weekend.
it is a terrible, because we tried to make it count and that blew up in our faces.
But that happens sometimes. And
Best laid plans. Sometimes you just got to leave the kids at home, go out for pack smokes, and never come back.
no, like, okay, so here's the thing that the way I try to look at this, and it doesn't always work, I admit, but it worked a little bit. You have to set the bar really low sometimes with kids, and I hate to be like that, but like you just do. Because if you get your expectations up really high that a day is going to be like the best day ever, or like a trip to Cincinnati to go shopping with a 10-year-old and a 18-month-old.
And it wasn't go shopping. Like, I thought I was pretty clear. Like, I know exactly what I'm looking for. I'm going to walk in the store, see if they have it, and then leave.
Well, I understand that, honey, but a 10-year-old and an 18-month-old don't. Like, don't look at me like I made it very clear. Like, to me, yes, but like they don't care nor understand that.
That wasn't given to me in the presentation on everybody going.
What? You're an adult. You should have known. I said don't put the bar. I said set the bar really low, and then it'll be fine. I was fine. She freaked out, and it was really loud. It was like,
oh yeah,
I was deaf for like 10 minutes in one of my ears.
I still can't hear.
What? But what I'm saying is you have to remember, like, that's just how they are. And if you get really angry and react, they're going to, like...
That's like a whole different episode.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, you have to, like, keep some
We're talking about making
perspective.
weekends count, and you're making weekends sound terrible.
Well, sometimes they are. Yeah. Set the bar low, and then you'll be okay. You can't be let down if you don't expect the world. 311, thank you very much. Continue.
Wow, now I'm all mixed up.
Don't know what to do?
Yep. I should have written it down.
Continue.
Is that a song too?
Yeah. Yeah, you know that.
No, continue. No. It's continuous.
No.
So, when I, like, make them count for time with the kids and time for yourself. Kids are in bed. We had a friend of ours was having a little get together this weekend, and at the time, I was happy about setting up my new face mask for my helmet. Well, but I was like, you go.
We trade off, fun. Too, because you were out
Sometimes
Friday
I go,
night.
sometimes you go.
Well, and you were out Friday night.
I was working, though. Hey, we put a lot of work on that podcast.
I know
just
you
like
do,
this
but
one.
you have fun.
You don't have fun?
Probably don't rush Sean through the end of
We do, actually.
podcast.
No, this is a side note. A few weeks ago, we were recording over his house, and we'll record like 2 or 3 in one night because we live so far away.
Giving away the magic.
Oh, we make jokes about it all the time. we'll go like, so last week. Anyway, but like they were like jabbering on and on and on, and it was funny. But I was just like, guys, I had my heart set on Taco Bell.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
And what's funny is I'm like, they're open till 2. We're good to go. And I'm like, all right. And like, it just went on and on. And eventually it's like 1:15. I'm like, guys, we have to wrap it the fuck up. And we finish up. I get there at like, I don't know. It was in time. I forget what. It was like maybe a quarter till or something. And I'm sitting at the drive-thru, and they aren't doing shit. And I was like, the fuck? And I drove around. The guy's in the store. I can see him. And I'm just like, dude. And then I was like, spring forward. It was the time change day. So I was like, oh, son of a bitch. So
yeah,
I came home and just found food here.
It's very sad.
So, but I made my weekend count. That was an adventure. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you can go out and do fun stuff, or like, make a movie night, plan a movie night for the kids and stuff on the weekend, just where like you don't think about work.
And
if you bring your stuff, computer, briefcase home, like just shove it in a closet
and make sure you don't, like, I'll just talk about the kids. make sure you do make some date nights or date days. We've been struggling with that for the past couple of months because...
No, we're not struggling. All our babysitters keep bailing on us.
Well, we don't have a huge pool of them, and we don't have a non-relative. So relatives, as much as I truly appreciate and love that, like, we don't have to pay them and they just want to spend time with our adorable children because they love them.
Yeah.
They're going to tell us no more than someone we're paying.
Oh, like they have lives of their own.
And they have
like
kids of their own,
yeah.
and we understand that. So of course, if they're like, oh, so and so is kind of not
You
feeling well,
mean
I
they're
need to
not
stay
turning
home.
down the likely like cold leftover pizza we're going to leave them?
Right? Like, we have no food. Eat what you can find.
There's like one bread heel and probably some almonds.
Maybe some peanut butter.
Enjoy. But yeah, make your weekends count.
Yeah.
Do something fun with the family. Or like say, hey family, this is going to be a relaxy weekend. We're just going to get some movies and some popcorn. We're going to do some inside stuff. Like, whatever.
I think it would be
Build
nice
excitement.
for us in the near future to run all of our errands during the week somehow and not have to do any errands. Because I do a lot of errand running on the weekends lately. It's errands and laundry, and that's my life.
Yeah.
But today was nice. I got to go out and do them, and I did a freaking amazing Goodwill run for Sydney. She woke up the other day, and she's huge, and none of her clothes fit, and she doesn't have any warm clothes or warm weather clothes. So that was really great. I found some good deals.
So the next one is one that I actually personally...
I didn't know there was more.
There's two more.
Oh, my goodness.
I told you to...
Now, okay, let's go.
Oh, look who's right all of a sudden.
Well, you didn't... You did not provide me with the information I needed.
The hand signal means go for us, but I'm gonna go nice and slow because you said not to rush. My next tip. Okay, sometimes you're at work, you're in work mode, and honestly, like, work's hardly ever fun. Like, in general, I'm not saying like you don't have like fun times at work, but for the most part, most of us would rather be anywhere else. So put some little reminders at work to say like, this is why I do it. Put pictures of your family, put like, some of if you're a fan of a baseball team or something, put stuff up there just to like personalize it. Makes it a little easier to be there. I went through a time years ago where I was just a grumpy Gus for a very long time, like a few months. And I feel like I was like, I don't know, I was in a dark place, I guess. And I was snapping at people and there was times where I'm at work, I was like, I think I was just mean to that person. And I would just say stuff and not even care. And I know I was just kind of being a dick, and I realized it. So I was like, I need to make an effort to be happier at work, because if I'm happier at work, I come home and I'm a happier person. So what I did is I found this picture of a goat. It's this goat that's like, it's all like happy and shit.
It was this picture on Facebook for years, and it drove me
Yeah, if you know me, like, that is why that was my Facebook picture for so long.
Smiling goat.
But it's a reminder to me. When it pisses me off when I see people use it as a meme, and now they use it and they're like, this is my face when fucking Taylor Swift comes on the radio. And I'm like, no, that's my goat. But like, I made this little strip of paper at work and I taped it to my monitor. Do you remember this? I might still have it somewhere, but I photoshopped like a blue sky, and I put one goat. I took the goat and like mirrored it so like it was facing one way on one side and one way on the other, and I wrote "Be like goat" on it. So I stuck it on the top of my monitor, so it was like a constant reminder when I'm pissy, just to be like, relax. It's not the end of the world. Like, you're going to be fine. And it helped. And
Maybe you need to revive the goats for your current job.
No, it's...
Just throwing it out there. I'm kidding.
No, my current job is like any other job where there's stresses that you can't control.
Right.
Receiving
happens.
like project requests ridiculously late, and then them wanting them ridiculously right now, and then you're like, what? Stuff like that is what, and it's a constant stressor. And like, I'll come home and be like, you won't believe what this person did, that you don't know this person, and you don't really know what the ins and outs of the actual, but I'm going to complain about it.
It's funny because I have the same thing happens to me when I receive a recruit, like super short notice, and they're like, hey, there's all these questions that none of your people who qualify have answered, and we need you to start scheduling them tomorrow. And it's like 2:00 in the afternoon. So I totally get that.
Yeah.
It's people procrastinating and short notice.
And like, I'm also talking about like customers that come in at
right. And customer service
at like 4:50.
That's the worst.
And then they're like, can you make 100 copies and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, yeah, come back tomorrow. But like, it's not just like internal, like one bad customer can ruin your day. Or there's chatty customers who
you should get to go to this job, I think. But what's your next thing?
Oh, look who's rushing now.
I kind of have to use the facilities, but I don't want us to have to pause.
Okay.
So let's power through.
Okay. My last one, and it kind of goes with that. Don't forget the happy things. So in your work-life balance, there's going to be times where you're like so busy and you come home and you're just exhausted. And sometimes for weeks on end. There's times where I'm just like, I haven't had a good night's sleep in a month. And it happens. And that's life. And you just have to remember that there are happy things that are going to happen. And there are happy things that have happened.
Or there's happy things happening and you're just not seeing them because you can't see the forest for the trees. Is that saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's hard when you're all beat down and busy and
you didn't
tired.
mention in your email how old your children were, so I don't know what you're dealing with. But like, we have a serious lack of sleep in our house because Sydney has... Some days she wants to sleep till 8:30. Some days she wants to get up at 6:45. Like, you just don't know.
And I mean, if you have a child under 1 year, you're still probably dealing with middle of the night stuff. I'm not even
cluster feeding,
and we're not commenting on sleep patterns of anyone in our house because I'm not jinxing that shit. I'm just gonna leave it at that because she may wake up really early, but she hasn't woken up in the middle of the night in quite some time.
Like a week.
I can't hear her because you're the one. I don't hear her.
She was going through that growth spurt, and like I had to get up with her and chill her out. And
that only happened like once.
No.
Oh, well.
It happened almost every day for about 2 weeks.
That was a while ago, honey. That was like 2 or 3 weeks ago now.
Well, relatively, that's not.
Point being.
Okay, yeah.
If you've got a little one, I feel you. It'll get better.
So yeah, just remember that like you're doing it all for a good reason.
Take a nap on the weekends. Use that weekend to make it the best.
Take a nap on your drive home. There's always good things that you're working for. You're doing the work for a reason. Just remember the boundaries of like work is work, home is home.
Yeah.
Leave work at work, be home at home.
Yeah, try to compartmentalize. That's a good thing to compartmentalize is work and family.
I have trouble not bringing stresses home. Not just work, like anything. Like I have trouble shutting it out, but I try really hard. And especially like when I'm playing with Sydney and stuff, I'm trying not to be pissy about whatever the hell's bothering me. I'm just like, this kid doesn't care. She just wants to throw this ball.
Right.
She's pretty good at throwing a ball. Mm-hmm. Like, I think we have a little athlete on our hands.
She likes to throw things, like everything on the floor.
Yeah. I'm done with this food. Look how far I can throw it.
I'm going to clean my tray off for you. One goldfish at a time.
That's so cute.
Throw them all over the kitchen.
You know we're going to joke about it when she's older. You used to throw everything everywhere.
Yeah.
You little shit. Now get out. You're 18. I don't have anything else to add. Rick Grimes, I hope that helps.
Yeah.
And I hope this helps anyone else who deals with these stresses because, you know, we all... like that job that laid me off because they had to cut 3% off the top. It sucked being broke.
Yeah.
It sucked a lot because that's right when Sydney was born. But I got to spend her first 6 months.
Yeah.
I was looking for a job, I spent a good amount of time every day, like online.
Oh, yeah.
For
and
jobs
like you had some freelance stuff that came in.
Did some freelance work.
And that helped.
But like, it was so nice to like be with her all day. Like, that's great. But gotta go to work.
Right. And I mean, if you don't have an outlet that's just for you, I would recommend finding one. Maybe you had one when you were single, but you kind of have fallen out of doing it because of work and family and everything, all those obligations. carve out some time for you, because that is so important for your mental health, and it'll help you feel more centered.
Take a knitting class.
Even if you like we said, like don't feel guilty about that. Like, that is so important. It's kind of like it tethers me to who I am. Like, as tired as I am right now, I'm going to probably get up and go to the early class tomorrow because it's Monday. And
you're
this
a crazy
weekend,
person.
Well, this weekend was trying, and
I'm going to go to the 2 a.m. class because I'm Sarah.
No.
And it helps me start my day.
It does. And like you said, you were excited to go to work tomorrow because our weekend was a little hectic with the kids.
It's so it's like,
I don't
I'm just
get
saying, like,
to leave. So I'm going to go to class for an hour.
Well, no, a lot of it's I'm working on a big project that, like, it's not like it's super fun, but it's rewarding because when you get done with it, you're like,
That's true. Right. And my work, my day does not feel like that. So I feel I'm a little stressed about work already. So I'm going to take that time in the morning, and it centers me and it puts me in a really great mood. Just find something for you. That's my advice. Be a little selfish. It's okay.
just a little.
That's the millennial in me. The be a little selfish thing.
Oh, come on. It's not the millennial. It's like, it's the everyone. They just blame it on the next generation.
Oh, of course. But
Generation before us went and polluted our shit and got rid of our unions and all that. So they can go fuck themselves.
on that note.
Yeah. On that note, go fuck yourself, everyone. Yeah, I don't have anything else. Do you have anything else?
No, I think we're good here. Thanks for writing in again, Rick Grimes.
Thank you, Rick Grimes.
If anyone else has this, if this has made anyone have a light bulb, that was a good question, but my question's way better. Please enlighten us. Send it over to us at he said she said pc@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook, Instagram. Our podcast will be on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean.
YouTube's usually a little delayed, FYI.
Yeah, but I mean, most people, let's be real, most people are probably finding us on iTunes. So do us a favor, rate us 5 stars and give us a nice, happy little review. Be the
and
first.
subscribe if you haven't.
Yeah. You want to be famous in the world of podcast reviews on iTunes? Leave a review.
I haven't even checked to see if we got a review.
Leave your mark on our podcast because
pee on us?
we love you. Ew. No, don't do that. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed this episode.
And we hoped... Oh, sorry.
He said, she said podcast, a relationship podcast.
And we hoped you enjoyed hearing both sides of the story.
Why does he have to say it like that, you guys?
Because it's so
awful.
Yeah.
Have a good week. We'll see you next time.